Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gauntlet Con's Mission Accomplished session for Gauntlet Con on Sunday, 2018. I am your mission control host, Jeff Stormer. Where is my link to the actual event? There it is. I'll post this real quick in the Gauntlet Con videos Discord channel. Mission accomplished. Thank you all so much for coming and playing. I am very excited to have you all here, and I would love to just get right to the game. So let's dive in, and I will explain the premise, and then we will go around the table and introduce all of the fun things that are going to be happening. This is Mission Accomplished, the role-playing game of super spies and office meetings. Please note there is a salute in the title. I don't know how to put it in text yet, but it is there. You are all playing agents of the United Nations Department of High-Risk Operations. That is the Hero Department. You are at war. Our world is at siege by the vast international league of larcenists, arsonists, and inventors of nefarious science. That's right. We are at war with villains. At the start of the game, you have just returned from killing the bad guys, blowing up the Doomsday device, and saving the world. Mission accomplished. Now it is time. That was the easy part. Now it's time for the really hard part. That is sitting down with management and going over who gets credit for everything that went right and who gets blamed for everything that went wrong. These are where you're going to use your real skills of selling out your coworkers, anonymously ratting out people to management, and spinning every action to make you seem like the hero and everyone else seem like a coward and an incompetent. That is your mission if you choose to accept it. That is mission accomplished. It was actually surprisingly easy to come up with the acronym for villains. I thought it was going to be a lot harder. It was just, I was at work one day like, okay, yeah, that's a really funny acronym. That's going in the game. And I had to write it on a notepad because I was in a meeting like, yep, that's going in the game. Yeah, I'm paying attention. Great, great. No, really appreciate it. Everything's going great. So you all have returned from saving the world or from saving democracy or capitalism or something. All of it kind of blurs together at a certain point. You saved something, and that's kind of what matters. Specifically, your mission today was the Bull, a noted accountant for villains, entered into an illicit underground poker tournament on international waters, carrying with him a considerable amount of money earmarked for future villains' operations. If that money could be recovered, it would greatly hinder future villains' operation capabilities and possibly convince the Bull to seek sanctuary with the Hero Department because a lot of people would be very angry with him. At the start of the game, you have successfully bankrupted the Bull, come back in one piece. Mission accomplished. Now you're in a cramped office room. It is a Saturday morning. You have come in on your day off. There's a plate of stale croissants in front of you. And we are going to hash out exactly what happened, which includes a few things that went wrong. That's why we're really here. It's because some things went sideways on the mission. And mission control, that's me, has to figure out who is responsible. Because obviously these are the actions of a rogue agent on the field. Because if they were not the actions of a rogue agent on the field, they were the fault of mission control, and they were never the fault of mission control. Mission control acted in mission control's best interest at all times. So I have sent you all the mission dossier for the illicit underground poker tournament. This is a list of faces, places, props, and protocols. All the things that you need to know to understand what happened on the mission, sort of the big picture. What I'm going to ask from each of you, and I'm going to be included in this, all five of us are going to take a moment, look over the dossier, and name one thing that went horribly wrong on the mission. We don't know who's responsible, but something went horribly, disastrously awry. So if everybody has the dossier in front of them, we will look through that, and we will kind of decide one thing that went terribly, terribly wrong. I'm actually going to go right out and say, I think that the thing that went wrong on the mission is Hero Department tipping policy is very strictly enforced. We are encouraged to tip all wait staff at least 20%. Wait staff were generally under-tipped while on the mission, which has led to a lot of negative tweets and TripAdvisor reviews against the Hero Department as an organization. Our Glassdoor score has been greatly dropped in the week since the mission has undertaken. Someone was under-tipping the wait staff on this assignment. We're going to have to figure out who was under-tipping the wait staff. I always like to go really small and bitter with my suggestions.
Someone on this mission was really broadcasting the fact that they are a secret agent.
Oh, that's good.
And we've told you time and time again that being a secret agent isn't about the glory.
It's not. It's about the mission. It's about the joy of saving the world. And somebody out there, they figured out that there was a double agent, a secret agent on the mission. It made things a lot more difficult. And really, you should just be proud of the fact that you're in this. That should be enough. It should be about you, not about everyone else knowing it's you.
Someone. Oh,
go ahead, Mike.
All right. Someone stole Pookums.
Yep, somebody stole Pookums, which is the giant tiger hosted by $, who is the organizer of the illicit underground poker tournament. That tiger's gone missing, and that tiger is very, very expensive. And also real dangerous, because it's a giant tiger that's been raised on international waters around criminals. That'll rub off on a tiger.
There was a large transfer of bit chips, which I assume is some sort of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's the official cryptocurrency of illegal underground poker tournaments.
There was a large one, and it's been filtered through several bank accounts, and the accounting department is still trying to figure out exactly who on the public ledger was responsible for this transfer.
Yep, that's very good.
And finally, secondary objective, win big, was not attained. Somebody lost a lot of money during this operation.
A lot of money. Oh, that's very good. Somebody lost a ton of money, and really, we said, if you were going to gamble, to at least win, right? We had temporarily softened our company gambling policy, and we said if you're going to gamble, to at least win, and somebody didn't win, so. Which probably is related to the undertipping. Honestly, a lot of these things seem like they might be connected. So, okay, now we know what went wrong on the mission, and I'm extremely happy. Now, it's time to meet our agents. Now that we know the mission, now that we know what happened, it's time to meet the agents on the field. So I'm going to ask each of you for the following pieces of information, and I will post them in the chat and say them out loud. Your name, your best spy name. That can be an acronym, that can be a pseudonym, that can be your pet's name and your favorite tree, whatever your best spy name is. Your specialty, your job within the agency, the reason you were deployed on the field. Whether that is you're a small arms specialist, you're a hacker, you're the team accountant, your public resource, your public relations, maybe you're an intern on a ride along, maybe you're the boat driver. How you contributed to the primary objective. Because as we stated, the primary objective was successful, unquestionably successful. And everybody here played a part. And last but not least, but perhaps most importantly, a fun fact. Because we're not just coworkers here, we're really more like a family. And so we want to get to know you on a personal level.
I will go first.
Please.
I will be Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell is explosives and heavy weapons. And Tinkerbell assisted the mission by improvising some rockets out of a slot machine and a very strong cocktail.
Good.
And destroyed the enemy helicopters. And Tinkerbell likes to paint little carousel things.
That's so lovely. What a lovely hobby. Well, hey, we appreciate your ingenuity on the field. We appreciate your ingenuity.
Gave me survival kit.
We appreciate your ingenuity on the field. We appreciate your passion for painting. Take a commendation dice. Commendation dice are kind of the two sort of dice that you'll be accruing in the game. Commendation dice are good. They are how our algorithm determines who is getting the promotion, because there is a promotion on the table. That is important. Someone at the end of this meeting is going to get a promotion, and somebody is going to get burned or sent to Siberia or taken to a back alley and disposed of. So it is important that you be doing your best work on this assignment. To commendation dice are how our algorithm determines who gets that promotion. The higher your dice results at the end of the game, the better chances you get of getting a promotion. Citation dice are the other dice, and those will come up a little later. They are very bad. Even one citation dice can tank your entire chances of getting a promotion. Or it can do literally nothing. The algorithm is very complicated. It is advised that agents under no circumstances accrue even a single citation dice. Truly, a successful mission will be the one in which agents accrue no citation dice. No, it's not possible to do that. It's not going to happen.
Which color are the commendation dice?
Commendation dice are white, and citation dice are black, or whichever color you prefer. It's just have two different colors.
Clear and red for the thing.
Okay. All right, who would like to introduce themselves next? Mission Control. All of Mission Control's information is Mission Control, except for the fun fact: I love fly fishing. Mission Control, big fly fishing fan.
My name is Cameron Ilian, also known as a chameleon, master of disguise.
Very good.
I contributed the mission by taking the place of several different employees during the operation, ensuring that all agents were able to go unseen and to have whatever they needed on the terrain.
All right. And last but not least, give us a fun fact. Help us get to know you on a personal level.
Cameron is also super lonely and has no family.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Yeah,
that's not a fun fact. That's a sad fact.
It's the funniest fact about him.
That's fair. Well, hey, we appreciate your skills at infiltration. Why don't you take a commendation dice for that?
Thank you.
Who would like to introduce themselves next?
All right, I will be playing Catherine Tabby, also known as Kitty.
Yep.
She's a safe cracker and security expert. In the mission, I broke into the server room and depleted the appropriate funds from what was his name? Sorry.
$sign is the the bull.
Not dollar sign. The bull. The bull. Sorry. And a fun fact about me: I play D&D.
No, a D&D player.
Yeah, a thief, of
course. Could you explain what that is? Because I've never heard of this Dungeons and Dragons thing. This is a real thing that happened to me in a meeting one time, and it was the most agonizing experience of my life.
God,
I would like that
awful.
noted.
Oh.
Actually, it was worse because it was a coworker of mine as we were doing the terrible icebreaker exercise from which this part of the game grew, somebody said, "Well, Jeff makes podcasts," and then I had to explain not only what an actual play podcast was, but what Dungeons and Dragons was, and it was probably the most awkward moment of my life.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Well, anyway, we appreciate you depleting the bull's finances. Take a commendation dice.
I think Kitty took the bit chips.
We don't want to encourage any sort of outward accusations. One of the 7 habits of highly effective Black Ops agents is team spirit. We're all in this together. So, really, and also for breaking protocol, I'm going to have to give you a citation dice for that. That seems like it was stepping out of line. We have protocols for a reason, Tinkerbell. I'm sorry.
I will be playing Vincent Velour. Vincent's specialty is being an expert at blending into any service industry position, no matter how high class and specific the etiquette is. And from that vantage point, he is able to provide a variety of support to whoever's sort of the primary on the mission. He'll act as a lookout. He'll give etiquette tips if someone is perhaps rolling their cuffs the wrong way or using the wrong fork. And he, ever since he heard about Dame Judi Dench doing it, he's been embroidering curse words onto things.
Brilliant, fantastic, and we appreciate you. We needed eyes on the inside on the assignment. We needed people to observe the service because obviously, any insight we could get into the operation is valuable. Take a commendation dice for that. Now I'm going to put something into chat, message it on Discord. Okay. Now comes the most important part of the game, really the most vital part of our mission, of our post-mission protocols, and that is ratting out your coworkers. How this is going to work is you are all going to private message me on Discord 2 pieces of important information. I'm going to post it into the chat as I see it, or as you introduced yourselves. For each of you is going to look to the player to your left and to the player to your right. I'm basing it off of the order in which you introduced yourselves because that's the order that I have it written down because I don't know if Google is going to move your pictures around. So I'm posting it into chat, messaging it on Discord right now. Everybody is going to look to the player to their left or the player to their right. That is Tinkerbell. You are going to be reporting on Cameron and Vincent. Cameron, you are going to be reporting on Kitty and Tinkerbell. Kitty, you are going to be reporting on Cameron and Vincent. Wait, something's wrong there. Why did 2 people end up? Wait, I did it wrong. Hold on. This is Cameron and Vincent.
Hey.
Tinkerbell.
No, we're just going to rearrange our seat. Mission Control did nothing wrong.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling that out. Take a commendation dice for acknowledging that Mission Control did nothing wrong. Oh, I guess 2 people are just going to have the same. Doesn't seem right. The 2 people just have the same name here? All right, that's fine. Kitty has 2. Tinkerbell has 2. Yep. Okay, so you're going to take the 2 names here. You are going to, one of these people did something to greatly help along the course of the operation. One of these, the other person did something to greatly damage or hinder the operation. Somebody did something great. Somebody really did something to bungle up the whole affair. You're going to take you're going to message me 2 pieces of information. In about as much space as you could write on a 3x5 index card while keeping in mind that I have to read it. So not microscopic text as you may have filled out on an index card in some other role-playing game. I know how these games work. In about as much space as you could legibly write on a 3x5 index card, you're going to message me 1 piece of information that is how one of those 2 people did something to help along the mission. Something they did excellently, something that they did that went above and beyond. On another piece of information, the other message you're going to send me is how the other person really gummed up the works and really messed things up. Does that make sense to everybody? Excellent. Pass me along those on Discord.
I just have to figure out how to get that to work on Discord.
And then once I have all that information, I will arrange it into a rough chronological order, and we will start the mission debriefing proper.
Okay, I'm going to feign my Discord ignorance here. What's the easiest way to direct message you?
I can actually send you a message, and then it should just pop up with my name.
Please.
You should also be able to click or right click his name in the mustering point chat.
Oh yeah, that's actually probably the easiest way to do it.
Thank you.
So that's definitely going to be the easiest way to do it. Oh, these are very good mission complications. I really want to call out the fact that these mission complications are very, very good. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get into this meeting. This is going to be excellent.
Just double checking, there should be 1 good thing and 1 bad thing.
Yes, yes. One good thing, one bad thing about 1 agent each.
Okay.
Very good. Extremely happy.
Sorry, I used one person twice. So the
Oh,
second
I
one
see.
is
Gotcha.
yes.
Gotcha. You know, I'm glad that you clarified, because the two things that you sent didn't actually link together, and I was like, well, that's a little long, but that makes a fair amount of sense. See, I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, do I have? And all right. As everyone's stuff is coming in, I am just to peel back the curtain a little bit, since we're recording. I am arranging all the things that I'm getting into an approximate chronological order for the purposes of running the meeting. I'm going to be putting these into. I'm going to be making these public facing, and therefore I'm putting them into a rough chronological order so that I can kind of track. Oh, that's very, very good. So that I can track sort of how the, and also as reports come in that line up nicely with sort of the complications that we created in the first phase of the game, I'm sort of pairing them together to help me kind of run together. And I think I have one more coming.
What did you call the two dice? The two types of dice?
Commendation dice and citation dice.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have all of our anonymously written reports. Double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I have all of our anonymously written reports. I have all of our complications, which means now it is time to start the meeting. So as I said, it is a Saturday morning. You have been called in on your day off, and you're spies, so you don't get a ton of steady days off. You've been called in. There's a plate of stale croissants and danishes in front of you. It is a cramped little meeting room. It's probably really only fit for 4-person meetings, which makes the fact that there's 5 of us just that little bit uncomfortable. You know how it is. There's a flickering fluorescent light above us. Mission Control walks in wearing a slightly ill-fitting suit, sits down, looks over a bunch of papers, and says, okay, well, thank you for coming, everyone. I appreciate everybody taking time from their day off to come in and meet. We have a lot to get to, so let's dive right in and get to it. I figure what we'll do is we'll kind of just run through the meeting top to bottom. We'll review our performance, see if there were any opportunities for growth, personal development, and then maybe share some successes along the way. So starting at the top of the meeting, I'm going to throw it over to Cameron. Cameron, I have here a report, and I'd love to hear your perspective, because in the name of sharing successes, I'd love to hear your report on you were instrumental in getting everyone onto the boat at the start of the mission and back off the boat at the end of the mission. I'd love to hear what your strategy was for getting everyone where they needed to be, and how you felt like that went, how you felt like your coworkers followed. You know, you had been taking a leadership role. Cameron was instrumental in getting everyone on and off the boat. How did you feel like, what was your plan, and how did you feel like everyone else performed?
My initial approach was to get myself hired as a crew on the boat, and I passed as Mabel Anaya, 47 years old sailor woman who used to move a lot of people in the time. So I got hired on the stud, and as I was arranging transport for the VIPs and everyone, I snuck our agent in the meantime.
Now, my question for you is, did you feel like you were perhaps overstepping, considering we had an agent on the field whose specialty was specifically impersonating service personnel? That seems, I'd like to hear your perspective, because that seems to me like not really honoring the value of team spirit that is really so crucial to our organization.
I'm not sure if I follow. I did this to get everyone on the boat.
Right, but it seems like you could have said, "Hey, let me remember her name real quick. This isn't happening. Mission Control doesn't forget agents' names. I'm gonna issue myself a citation because this is poor team spirit on my part."
It's Vincent.
Couldn't you have said, "Hey, Vincent, please impersonate a service personnel," rather than saying, "I'm going to impersonate that service personnel"?
Yes, I could have done that. I think Vincent's talent would have been better used at another task.
Vincent, what were you up to at that moment? That is, I'm going to give you a commendation for recognizing the value of Vincent's skills as an employee. And then I'm going to throw it over to Vincent and ask Vincent, what were you doing that meant that you couldn't have been infiltrating the boat and ensuring that everyone else's covers were in place? This seems like an opportunity where you could have been committed to excellence, which is another one of the values of highly effective Black Ops agents. Could you perhaps explain where you were at this moment?
Well, of course, I spent the several weeks previous to the event acting as the personal assistant of our celebrity, Catherine, our VIP for the event. I had to, of course, get her into all of the right circles in order to attend this event.
Now, in that time, this seems like, I guess my question for you is, in that time, did you feel like that required weeks of work, when we know that, and I don't mean to, throw out I don't mean to make sort of private business public, but we know that you had a lot of ethics and compliance training modules that needed to be completed in the weeks before the assignment. Did you feel like weeks of deep cover operation was the best way and not filling out important ethics and compliance training modules online?
Have you ever gotten front row seats at a Versace show? I don't think so.
May I also add that Agent Vincent did these Versace tickets for free. They were
that is very
a
impressive.
gift.
You know what? Take a commendation. That's a great team spirit. That's great. That's great calling out accomplishments. Now, here's my question, my follow-up question, and this is sort of earing into citation territory. What day was this? Because I happen to know that I didn't receive any sort of Versace ticket.
The Versace show was instrumental to getting Catherine sitting next to pop star Diana Twiggs.
Sure.
And becoming
would love to meet,
very close friends and getting invited to this event on the cruise.
I'm going to put aside my private feelings of resentment of her not being invited to the Versace show and say, you know what? I really can't do it. I feel like I'm going to give you a commendation for team spirit, for working and for putting in the work and commitment to excellence. But I'm also going to give a citation for respect for authority, because I feel like mission control, I don't get to do the fun field stuff. The least I could do is get to be a part of the fun Versace show beforehand. That's all I'm saying. It felt like an opportunity. It felt like I didn't really get the email. And I think that's really, shouldn't everyone have those opportunities?
I've still got a caviar sheep mask from my gift bag if you want one.
I would love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I still have to give you the citation, but I'm definitely going to use this when I get home. And I'm so grateful. Thank you. Okay. Well, so we know how you got onto the boat. Now, Cameron, you had mentioned creating an alias to get onto the boat, to sneak onto the boat. I have here a report that you actually, on the course of the mission, used a lot of your burned aliases. You had used a lot of previously used aliases. Could you explain why that? Could you explain how that came to be? I mean, I have to suspect, given the fact that Villains agents caught wind of the fact that obviously someone was talking about being a secret agent, which we'll get to in a bit. But obviously the fact that Villains agents were so able to so thoroughly understand who in the mission was trying to sabotage the operation, probably due to the fact that a lot of your aliases had been used on previous intelligence missions, which had been linked to high fatality rates among Villains agents. It's all about the facial reactions for me. It's all about the facials. It's all about the reaction shots.
Just give me a second.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you're thinking, I'd also like to sort of bring up to the group, if anybody has any insight into who on the team was broadcasting their status as a secret agent and throwing around the fact that I'm here on an intelligence operation, I'd be all ears to hear it, because obviously that is sort of violating the work that Kitty and Cameron put in disguise work and sort of exposing yourselves to really the risk of harm, which I think is not really within the bounds of team spirit.
Okay. I know at one point during a mission, I had to make a diversion. I posed as Phillips Wallace Phillips' former agent,
Sure.
and which was unfortunately one of my bird alias, and I had to pose as him to Philip. Mr. Wallace doesn't know that I'm a secret agent. Other villains might have been, but I needed him to be like really, really into the tournament to attract a lot of attention.
Of course.
Him. At that moment, really seemed like the best choice I could use.
For sure, of course, and you know what? I value that you would step forward and offer up like a real misstep and a real failure. I'm going to give you a commendation for personal development. I am going to have to cite you for a commitment to excellence in terms of. I feel like we trust you, and it is your responsibility as an agent to manage your Rolodex of alternate identities. It just seemed like this was a missed opportunity, and I'm going to have to unfortunately cite that in the final mission report. And that's a mature response, not commendation dice mature, but that's a mature, respectful response. Now, to the issue of somebody broadcasting their identity as a secret agent. Obviously, we know that Vincent is deep undercover as a service rep, as an executive assistant. So it seemed, and we know that our good friend Cameron is posing as Wilson Phillips, ex-secret agent. So we need to know. It seems a bit like it's either Tinkerbell or Kitty got a little bit too excited about their status as a secret agent.
Well, I saw that Tinkerbell over there. He was flaunting his high weapons training a lot on that mission. He was using it to try and impress some of the ladies. I mean, it happens. I get it, but it didn't seem very professional to me.
Did anybody else see anything like this?
I was demonstrating my skill with weapons so as to appear at a villain's status.
No.
I wanted to make sure that I was known and that people in the area would not see me as out of, I do paint those carousels, and it can be a moment when people hear that they might judge me.
Mm-hmm.
Tinkerbell, I hate to say it, but I did notice you keep not taking my advice to just get a slightly larger tailored tux. No one's really going to believe it with those short sleeves.
Tinkerbell, did you not consult with our tailor department, like our tux fitting department before the operation? There was a black tie dress code, and sleeves are encouraged in that, which we did receive a report that your sleeves had been removed.
I am aware, and I believe if you discussed with the tailor, we decided that it was an efficiency issue, that I needed to minimize my expenses for the mission, considering that other equipment might be needed.
I had to plant that it was a new trend, and you would not believe the amount of work I did to pull that off.
I can imagine.
Just the other day.
I think that sounds like a citation dice to me, Tinkerbell. That sounds like poor inventory management. We ask that you wear the clothes that you were assigned. Alterations that we need. There needs to be a paper trail of alterations. You can't be going rogue on the field, tearing sleeves off of things, pulling aside our tailor department. They have a lot of work. We got to go through a lot of outfits. We sew a lot of phantom threads into our garments that we need noted.
And the Winter Palace mission is coming up. All of our agents are going to be so cold.
It seems that's important.
On future missions, I will wear a properly sized tux. My apologies.
Thank you. That's real. That's commendable. That's commendation dice is what that is. That is personal development. And I'm also going to give a commendation dice to Vincent. You're holding your teammates' feet to the fire. You're holding people accountable. That's team spirit. It's easy to say team spirit is all praises and all celebrating successes. It takes bravery to step up and say, I think that you could have done this better. That's a commendation dice. I value that. Now, Tinkerbell, I want to throw it to you. Actually, yeah, I want to throw it to Tinkerbell. You had mentioned you've been displaying your weapons excellence. We have a report here that you did an excellent job creating a distraction in the form of a purple paint bomb. The staff was occupied trying to find clean whites, which meant that after your identities as hero agents had been exposed, you were able to escape. You were able to move silently through the operation. Now I have to ask, because obviously we have a report here that someone critically undertipped undertipped the waitstaff at the operation, surely after ruining so many perfectly clean whites, surely you properly tipped the waitstaff, and surely you did not undertip. Could you speak to that?
I certainly did not undertip anyone. The paint bomb was also an item that I took from a J.C. Penney's. They use multiple sort of ink devices.
Sure.
And I found that they were actually using the same ones in the casino to mark the money. It was sort of a double heist sort of situation where I planted these paint bombs so that they would go off in some of the false money we had planted. And when they erupted, there was a great panic among the staff that the actual money had been tainted, and it was at that moment we were able to escape with all of the proper funds from the
brilliant. That's a citation. Obviously, if you need a paint bomb, that's going to have to come from us and not from J.C. Penney. We don't need to bring them. We don't need to bring in outside parties into our operations. That's just asking for trouble later. But that is brilliant thinking on the field, and that's noted in the final mission report. Going to throw it over to Kitty. Got a question for you. A question. Big success. Everybody, I want to note it, Kitty. Big success. Masterfully used the allocated time to obtain not one, but two secondary objectives. They were able to both uncover $Sign's true identity and the guest list of the Blind Stud, both of which are really valuable. There are so many criminal elite individuals that we now have on file that we can now sort of hold their feet to the fire and interrogate that. My question to you, Kitty, where are those documents? Because we don't have them.
Well, you see, we were in one of the high roller rooms in the back area of the boat, and then it got us access to some of the service hallways. And once I got into the server room and was, hacking away, kind of breaking into things, I got a download of the guest of the true identity of $Sign. Download that onto a USB drive. Was ready to bring that. I didn't look at it.
Sure, understood.
That's not my job. My job was just to get the information.
I'm going to call that a citation dice. I feel like I don't want you to just be doing your job. I want you to be going. I want you to be, really reaching, really doing the job that you want to be doing, not the job that you're doing now.
I will. I'll try to step it up next time.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So after we got the USB drive, I put that away, and as I was looking through I was coming through, and I saw that there was a secret list hidden under some of the documents in this private back room. And as I was looking at it, someone was walking up to the same table that I was at, and I didn't want to look conspicuous like I had it, and so I turned around quickly, and they spilt their drink all over the guest list that I had taken, and short-circuited my USB drive. That
is a calamity. That is wacky happenstance, and I cannot believe that you would take your eyes off of official documentation like that. That seems like that's a real bungle. That's a goof up. I'm going to say it. That's a goof up.
But in my respect, and she pulls out of her pocket, here are the two names at the top of the list that did not get wet.
Well, you know what? That's a commitment to excellence. You salvaged what you could. That's a commendation. It's also a citation. We should have had this earlier. If you'd had this, and you should have presented it up front at the top of the meeting and said, hey, I have this. So that's a commendation and a citation. Throwing it over to Vincent here. Vincent, you found your way into many of the secret high roller private rooms, which got you a lot of information about villains' agents. Now, we know that these rooms were doing extremely illegal, extremely dangerous gambling games. We also have a report that someone lost a lot of money on the field. Can you tell me both, not so much what you learned, because we have documentation of all that, but can you tell me how you did in these illegal underground gambling tournaments that we don't have documentation on because it was really only you and the villains' agents?
Well, you see, I was going to take that advanced card counting class, but because of the Versace show and all, Well, there was a bit of a snafu where management wanted to talk to me for a minute, but I recovered it, and but oddly enough, when I got back, a number of my chips had just absconded.
So it was not your actions; it was the actions of another agent on the field or of a villain's operative. Here's my follow-up question: why was it just you? Why weren't you using the buddy system? I mean, that team spirit is all about that buddy system.
Well, I was distracting the table while Kitty was talking to some of the like wife of the high roller.
Kitty, could you explain? Did you get a visual on what happened to Vincent's chips? Vincent's bit chips? Could you explain?
At the time, I was fairly distracted, interacting with the bull's wife, who was here at the time. I was doing my best to gain any more personal information about the bull, see if we could find anything else to use to get in on him. And,
now this is what you were. Now, I mean, I don't want to challenge your story, but I want to just confirm you were sticking to the mission and not paying a lot of attention to Pookum's $signs, lovely imported animal, because I do have a report here that your cat craze has been getting out of hand, and that there's been a lot of cat hairs everywhere, and also we have this anonymous report that Pookum's the tiger has been stolen.
Pookum's was chained up near the this wasn't in the high roller rooms. He is the bull's like companion animal
at all times. They're really only ever seen
He's
together.
Got the vest and everything.
Little hat.
Well, yes, I do agree. The cat was in the room. Pookum's was in the room, and yes, in the safe there was some cat hair. But I cannot claim that I was part of that operation. I could have been anyone. There was tons of people in that not tons of people, but there was all the high rollers in that room.
Sure, of course.
Could have been anyone that left the cat hair behind near the safe.
Okay, sure. Did you happen to see what happened to Pookum's in that moment?
I just noticed that Pookum's was gone, and I figured that $sign must have left. Obviously, we didn't know the identity of $sign at the time, and so we were still trying to figure out who was in the room, who was not. And I believe the $sign was out of the room, so I assumed that Pookum's left with $sign.
Vincent, could you confirm the $sign was out of the room at the time?
I was, I was being hassled by management at the time. I'm afraid I'm not sure.
Seems like sort of the both of you took your eyes off of sort of not the primary target, which was the bull, but sort of the secondary target, which was $sign. Sort of feels like neither of you were really committed to excellence in that moment. But you know what? You were both looking after each other. That's going to be a citation and a commendation each, is what we're going to say there. Now, I want to throw it over to Cameron and Tinkerbell to ask, where were you as sort of these high roller operations were happening?
I was in charge of disabling the engines for the boat. I was down in engineering at the time.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to impersonate to do Alan O'Brien, one of the Bull's personal assistant.
Excellent. Now, this obviously these were important jobs, and I don't want to challenge your tellings of the stories, but both of your positionings didn't have anything to do with the fact that we have here a report that Tinkerbell was in the fighting pits with a variety of international arms dealers, which would have been really the place for both the Bull and Tinkerbell to be. And it sounds like if you were impersonating assistant, it sounds like you both might have been there.
I will admit that after I disabled the engines properly, I did partake in the fighting pit. However,
However,
I am looking at this. I was under the impression that by doing so and by participating, I might be able to win some big money.
okay,
As you
we
know,
did.
I am a very strong person.
That's fair. No, that's fair. And you know what we did? You know what we did ask you. I appreciate you getting your work done under the clock. That's a real commitment to efficiency. That's going to be a commendation. So I really appreciate that. Now, I guess my question for you is you're in the pits. Presumably the bull is there because the bull's assistant is there. Could you speak to, was this sort of the moment when we kind of infiltrated when the bull's money had left? Could you speak to Cameron's, or to rather, yeah, could you speak to Cameron's performance in that moment, Tinkerbell?
It was quite commendable. Cameron's impersonation was spot on, and I myself barely recognized him.
Cameron, could you speak to Tinkerbell's performance in the fighting pits?
In the fighting pit, Tinkerbell was forced to reckon with. If the objective was to win big money, he was on point. That's great to hear. That's going to be a citation for the both of you. You're not offering opportunities for improvement. It's great to just say you were doing great, but we really need, this is an opportunity for growth, and so I just want to sort of throw that out there that really going forward we should be expecting challenging each other, not just sort of softballing each other. This is a tough meeting, and we want to sort of be sort of acting responsibly and being in compliance is really the important thing. So, well, if there's something I might add, if Tinkerbell won big money, we haven't seen it in the report.
That's true, and we do have here that there's a large transfer of bit chips missing. So it sounds like you've won a lot of money, Tinkerbell. But you know what? That's a commendation for holding your coworkers' feet to the fire. Tinkerbell, could you speak to where this money that you won went?
Unfortunately, the money from the fighting pits was unable to be retrieved before we had to exfiltrate ourselves from the mission. And the winnings were all in cash. I had nothing to do with the bit chip transfer.
Okay, right. Well, of course, because these are underground. Sort of fighting tournaments. I appreciate that. I guess I'm a little curious as to where that cash went. Kitty, you have thoughts?
I thought I noticed your backpack looked much fuller on the way out than the way in. I can't say what was in it. I didn't look. I didn't feel like invading someone else's privacy, but it did feel a little suspicious. Did you say it looked
money heavy or imported tiger heavy?
Probably money heavy. Imported tiger is a little bit bigger than his backpack was.
That's fair. Fair. I needed to ask. It's on the table, and I needed to let you to throw it out.
Absolutely.
My bag was very heavy with these intel documents that I retrieved after beating one of the villains in during the fighting pit. I went to their quarters and was able to retrieve these documents. I'm sorry that I could not get them to you sooner.
No, I appreciate that's going above and beyond. That's a commitment to excellence. That's a commendation, Dice. Okay, so I think the last question that I really have, well, I guess I have two questions left. One is for Vincent. Vincent, we have here a report that after sort of the poker tournament went down, we have here a report that you spent a long time behind closed doors with the criminal elite. And when questioned about it, you blew it off like it was not a big deal. So I guess I'm curious, just so sort of for our internal security purposes, could you disclose a little bit of like what you were discussing with the criminal elite when it was you by yourself with a bunch of criminals behind closed doors that was no big deal?
Well, I was in my position, of course. It's
I started to speak and then realized I was trying to do the mute thing and was like, I
did
need
my
to be
sound turn
reacting
on?
this stuff. Of course.
It's important for me to gather information for future missions. And often I can just do this by sort of disappearing into the background of a room for a while. Like, no one really notices the guy there with a tray of champagne glasses. And so I was gathering intel on, of course, we have the Winter Palace mission coming up. Getting a bit of the guest list for that, as well as really the high the high bet games that are going to be going on.
Sure.
There's of course the whole ring of like outside bets of like who's going to show up when and who's going to get stabbed and so forth.
Sort of tauntines and death pools, all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate that again. This group of agents is showing a real commitment to going above and beyond, and I appreciate that. That's a commendation dice. Now, the only question that I have left is I feel like there's still this question mark that we all have, and I think we're all thinking it. We know that Vincent was in a back room holding wine glasses. I'd love to know where the other three of you were and where it relates to Pookums the tiger, because all we know now is that there is an extremely endangered, extremely expensive tiger possibly out on the loose, possibly being held in a private residence. This seems like an ethics violation waiting to happen. And here's the thing. If it's being held by a Hero Department agent, that's going to get liability back to us. So I just want to really know where the other three of you were that's not stealing an extremely expensive tiger.
I will say that I was actually on the top deck defending us from the oncoming villains' helicopters at the time. I did see Pookums at one point absolutely maul some of the other villains. It appeared that Pookums had broken free and then disappeared into what I can only assume was one of the galley doors.
Okay.
That was the last I saw of Pookums.
Did either Cameron or Kitty, did either of you get eyes on Pookums as he was rampaging through villains agents?
Yeah, I did saw that.
Okay, great. Did you see what happened after? Did you see what happened next? Did you see where it went off to?
Like Tinkerbell said, it went to the galley and probably into transportation place and lost sight of it at that moment.
Kitty, it kind of seems like it all comes down to you. Did you get eyes on Pookums?
I did.
Noted cat lover. Just putting that out there.
As we were exiting the venue, on our escape vehicle after the big kerfuffle with the helicopter and all of that good stuff, I did notice going the other direction from us there was another boat. It had a large box on the back of it, a little bit larger than Pookums. I imagine that is where the lovely feline was escaping with.
Okay. I guess my one point of criticism is could have let the rest of the team know that so that we didn't have this sort of elaborate witch hunt, I guess is the best term for it, because we were all trying to figure out. And I guess our follow-up operation, I'm sorry to kind of undercut. You know what? The more I think about it, the more I'm going to have to cite this, because I feel like Vincent put in a lot of work of future operations that are now going to have to be put on hold as we chase down a giant cat.
Well, I'm greatly sorry, and I will do better next time to alert my teammates of things that I find possibly suspicious but not confirmed.
That's great. That's great personal development. Commendation dice for that.
I would just like it noted how sorry I felt for the wait staff who were so poorly under-tipped by the fellow agents as they were mauled to death by a tiger.
I can't believe I feel like the amount that villains put those agents through, and then not even to have the courtesy to tip, it's just it's outrageous.
Vincent, back when you were standing in the back of the room with a glass glasses of champagne on a platter. Did you happen to tip the wait staff that you got the glasses from?
Did you split your tips? It's important to be splitting tips.
Did you split your tips? It's very important.
Oh, of course. I always do. It's the only way to keep getting by in the cutthroat service industry world. But I did see, I did see there was that one period of time where Cameron was manning the coat check, and just I heard some of the staff later talking about how just the whole coat check jar disappeared. I think when you take the coat check out of the pool of tips,
that's definitely going to impact tipping. That's a steady source of tips because everybody's got a coat and everybody's got guns that they're going to hang on a hook.
I have to ask, when you split your tips, did you make sure to report that to accounting to make sure they are taxed properly?
Oh, I must have forgot. What an oversight.
That is a definite oversight. That is definite oversight. But I really also want to get to this issue of Cameron, could you speak to the coat check tip jar?
Coat check tip jar?
Jar of money, labeled tips, gone missing.
I'm certainly not the one who took it, but in order to be able to man the code check, I had to deal with another employee, and I might have disgruntled her, maybe because she didn't make enough tip while she was doing other things because of me. So she might have stolen it.
That's fair.
Did you use the back hangers instead of the correct hangers? It's a common rookie mistake. I know.
Common mistake.
They are different types of hangers.
They are. They're slightly different.
Oh,
yeah, it's crucial.
Well, hey, listen. I appreciate everybody. I think we've kind of gotten to the bottom of the tip jar and the under tipping issue. That's going to be a citation for Cameron and Vincent because you really should have filed those tips. And frankly, even if you're impersonating a code check professional, your coworkers, when you're in disguise, when you're in deep cover, your coworkers, they're your team as much as we're your team. That's poor team. If you're disgruntling another employee, that's poor team spirit. You can't just say, "Well, I'm a hero." That's not how we operate.
I understand.
Thank you. Well, everyone, I appreciate everyone taking the time on a Saturday. Please help yourself to some croissants and some bagels and danishes. I apologize that the only Danish we seem to have is pineapple. I think that's pineapple peach. I don't think that's a good combination, but hey, listen, we're going to run our algorithm and we'll be back in a few minutes with some next steps meetings. Thank you so much, everyone. And I leave the room. There's just these danishes. And now we're going to roll some dice. Now we're going to kind of figure out who gets the promotion and who gets burned. The first thing everyone is going to do is you're going to roll your commendation dice. You're going to roll them as a pool of 6-sided dice. The sum total isn't as important as the individual results from 1 to 6. The three things that you'll want to note. These will change a little bit as you roll your citation dice, but the three things you want to note for now is you want to roll all of your commendation dice. Note how many dice you're rolling, the high result from 1 to 6, and how many multiples of that high number you get. So, because more multiples are better, so 3 6s is better than 1 6, 1 6 is better than 3 5s. Does that make sense to everybody? So you're going to roll your dice and just note those 3 pieces of information. How many dice you're rolling, the high result, and how many of those high result you get. Once everybody's rolling, if you just want to throw a thumbs up into the camera, we will move on and roll our citation dice and do the fun math bits.
Is this extra sort of left eye part of someone's set, or
what?
Oh, I can see everybody's dice results. This is good. This is very good.
I'm not sure they were all rolled, but
I just rolled some dice I had in front.
oh, okay. So on the roll for party, these dice are not good.
Is everybody rolled? All right. Now you're going to roll your citation dice. Now fun stuff happens. Remember how I said even one citation dice can tank your chances at a promotion or do literally nothing? Here's why that's going to happen. You're going to roll the citation dice in front of you. If even one dice matches any of your commendation dice, all of the dice of that number go away. So if you roll one 6-sided citation dice, all of your 6s go away. If you roll a number that you don't have any of, doesn't matter. Literally nothing happens. Citation dice disappear the second you roll them, alongside any dice that match them. So you're going to roll your citation dice, remove any matching results, and then you'll renote your number of commendation dice that are in front of you after the citation dice have wiped some, your high number that you roll after that, and you'll note the multiples of that high number. So this is when you'll tell me I rolled 2 6s out of 3 dice. Okay, we've got 1 6 out of 5 dice. 1 6 out of 5 dice, 2 5s out of 5 dice. 1 6 dice. 5s. Dice.
Ignore my first one. That was before I had canceled.
Gotcha.
So any what was it? The
any dice that match one of your citation dice all disappear.
Okay.
1 5 1 dice.
Yeah, everybody else got cold.
Perfect. I love that.
No, I don't.
I love it. Like I said, it can tank your chances or it can do literally nothing. Because it's algorithms, and sometimes algorithms are a waste of everyone's time. Just to make sure that I have everyone's characters' names lined up, we have Tinkerbell with 1 4 out of 1 dice. We have Vincent with 2 5s out of 5 dice. We have Kitty with 1 4 out of 4 dice. And Cameron, we have 1 5 out of 1 dice. Is that correct?
1 4 out of 2 dice.
1 4 out of 2 dice. Got it.
And this is just our top scores, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Then now we have our next steps meetings. So I will go through and let everybody know what happens. We'll start with Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell, unfortunately, we're sort of moving towards more covert operations in the future. Explosives are not really where the direction of the company is headed. So unfortunately, your position has been terminated. And because of that, and that's about when the dart hits your neck, and you are just, your existence has been disavowed. And who knows where you end up? It could be anyway.
Your Danishes were terrible.
Well, yeah, that's what we kind of expect. We're going to give you that. We're going to allow you that sort of space, which brings us to Kitty. Kitty, well, listen, unfortunately, we are going to have to take you off of the field due to, sort of the cat hair issue. The cat stuff is sort of starting to get in the way of missions. So we're going to keep you at a desk from now on, which means that there is going to be a fairly considerable pay cut. But hey, you get to keep your job. It's got a real sense of security because we do need to try and crack the information that you gave us and underneath the wine stains, etc. It's a rough thing to say, but I hope that you'll be okay with the decision. Which brings us to Cameron. Cameron, we've had some tough decisions. We've had some tough discussions over the last few hours. We've had to make some tough calls, as I'm sure you've heard about Tinkerbell. But we just wanted to let you know that, well, to put it bluntly, the promotion is yours. Corner office, floor to ceiling windows. Congratulations. It is yours. You have won the promotion. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you. You showed great initiative on the field, and we really hope that you'll excel in the senior position.
I'll do better, even better next time.
Oh, we expect it. I can't even say we look forward to it. We expect it. Which brings us to Vincent. Vincent, I'm sure you heard about the promotion. I'm sure you're a little upset, but I want you to know it's not because of your performance. It's actually because there's a better opportunity for you coming forward. You see, you have done so well in this operation. You have been deemed too important for low-risk missions such as this. You are receiving Alpha Omega 7 level clearance. This is the highest security clearance we have to offer. We are so happy for you. We are so happy to be working with you on the operations going forward, which is about when the black bag comes over your head and you are dragged off to an unmarked facility somewhere in international waters, where for the next 2 years, you are physically and mentally broken down and rebuilt as just a pure cold-blooded killing machine, where you are then dispatched on the highest lethality missions imaginable, missions with approximately 99.7% lethality rate per agent per assignment. Congratulations, mission accomplished. And that is our game. Thank you all so much for playing.
Oh, it was awesome.
That was really fun. Thanks.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Thank you all so much. This was a blast. I love playing this game.
I just wanted to say I'm probably the one who got Pukim because I wanted a pet for my apartment.
That's fair.
Understandable.
Completely understandable.
That was totally a bag full of money.
For sure.
I stole all the tips.
Yeah, figured. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the confession. That is
I
something
did,
new.
in fact, tip no one.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna smile at that because that's shameful. Oh, thank you all so much for playing. This was an absolute blast.
Yeah.
I am going to, for the purposes of the live stream, briefly plug that this game is currently on Kickstarter. You can find the link around somewhere. It's probably in the data below. I don't know. It'll be somewhere. You can go to Kickstarter and search for Mission Accomplished. It is already funded, all that jazz. But thank you all so much for playing. This was an absolute delight, and I will let you all go out and enjoy the rest of your Gauntlet Con. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.